Today we are going to discuss about the future tense. In the previous classes we discussed about the present tense, the past tense, and today in this class we are going to discuss about the future tense. There are four types in a future tense: simple future tense, future continuous, future perfect, future perfect continuous tense. Now let us discuss about one by one in greater detail with the 7 subjects: I, you, you, they, he, she, it. Okay, children, let us start the tenses with one sentence. I shall write a poem. I shall not write a poem. Shall I write a poem? Shan't I write a poem? We shall write a poem. We shan't write a poem. Shall we write a poem? Shan't we write a poem? You will write a poem. You will not write a poem. Will you write a poem? Want to write a poem? They will write a poem. They won't write a poem. Will they write a poem? Won't they write a poem? He will write a poem. He will not write a poem. Will he write a poem? Will not he write a poem? She will write a poem. She will not write a poem. Will she write a poem? Will not she write a poem? Next to future continuous tense. I shall be writing a poem. I shall not be writing a poem. Shall I be writing a poem? Shan't I be writing a poem? We shall be writing a poem. We shall not be writing a poem. Shall we be writing a poem? Shall not we be writing a poem? You will be writing a poem. You will not be writing a poem. Will you be writing a poem? Won't you be writing a poem? They will be writing a poem. They will not be writing a poem. Will they be writing a poem? Won't they be writing a poem? She will be writing a poem. She will not be writing a poem. Will she be writing a poem? Will not she be writing a poem? Next to future perfect tense. I shall have written a poem. I shall not have written a poem. Shall I have written a poem? Shan't I have written a poem? We shall have written a poem. We shall not have written a poem. Shall we have written a poem? Shan't I have written a poem? They will have written a poem. They will not have written a poem. Will they have written a poem? Won't they have written a poem? He will have written a poem. He will not have written a poem. Will he have written a poem? Won't he have written a poem? Next to future perfect continuous tense. Okay, I shall have been writing a poem. I shall not have been writing a poem. Shall I have been writing a poem? Shan't I have been writing a poem? We shall have been writing a poem. We shall not have been writing a poem. Shall we have been writing a poem? Shan't we have been writing a poem? He will have been writing a poem. He will not have been writing a poem. Will he have been writing a poem? Won't he have been writing a poem? Thank you, children. This is the future tense. We have 4 kinds in future tense: simple future, future continuous, future perfect continuous tense.